Hello everyone, I'm Broffy1322 and welcome to another GTA discussion video. So yesterday I uploaded a GTA live racing video of the Slow Sports Showdown. Now that was one hell of a race. I really recommend you watch that if you haven't already, because it was one of the best racing experiences I think I've ever had on this game so far. But I was actually live streaming that, as I mentioned in that video. I was actually live streaming that race at the time, and this was basically last Sunday, so just over a week ago. Now, unknown to me at the time, there was a streamer by the name of Summit1G who was watching that live stream. Now, I was obviously racing, I was obviously concentrated on what I was doing, so I didn't have a clue about this, but he was watching the live stream and something must have sort of sparked his interest in what I was doing with obviously the whole event. I think he was watching from the start as well, and he decided to come into the chat and sort of ask about it, ask what we were doing. You know, the guys in my chat explained a little bit more about what we do in terms of GTA racing. They provided him with a few track links to my circuits and things like that. And then he sort of had to go start up his own stream and went on his merry way. Now, obviously, I didn't have a clue about this at the time because I was racing. You know, I was just focused on doing the race that we were doing. It was an hour-long race, so I wasn't exactly able to watch the chat or anything. But for those of you who don't know who Summit1G is, because I didn't really at the time, you know, I knew the name, you know, the name rang a bell, but I didn't really know who he was or what he did or anything like that. Summit1G is a competitive, or maybe former competitive, I'm not entirely sure, Counter-Strike player, and he's, as I understand, one of the best Counter-Strike players in the world on what is a hugely competitive game. And he has about 1.2, I think over 1.2 million followers on Twitch. So he's pretty popular, let's put it that way. And he was watching my stream as I was doing that Slow Sports Showdown event live on Sunday, and he was asking about it and he was interested about it. And when he started up his own stream, and I hope he doesn't mind me using this footage, but I've tried to put as many sort of links to his channel as possible, obviously in the description and that. When he started up his own stream, after watching maybe half of the race that I was doing, this is what he said.
Yo, so I was browsing around Twitch, right? And I was like, I wonder what's going on GTA, see if there's any streamers I could check out. So I checked out this streamer, and he was doing like some crazy long, like 22 lap race with like 27 people in the race. It was crazy. You have to do like a pit stop and everything. You have to do like 3 pit stops for the race or something. And I didn't know that there was like such hardcore motherfuckers on the GTA racing world, because this guy's talking about like which cars are better on corners, which cars are faster at accelerating, which cars are faster on straights. It's pretty nuts, man, how insane the racing community is for GTA. So I signed it, by the way, man. Thank you so much for the $10, Tyler. Good to see you, man. I was thinking like I was gonna download his racing tracks and see if we can get some motherfuckers to race tonight, man. I'm sad that Cody's not streaming, but hopefully he'll still be down to a game. Brian McClotsky, thanks for the 15 months, man. Welcome back, dude. So, try to push bike racing. It's very action-packed. Yeah, that's not going to happen. GTA 5 is a big community. Dude, it's crazy. I didn't actually think it was that big. And this guy is, like, nuts at racing. Like, nuts. Like, he's doing everything perfect and shit. It's crazy, dude.
So, yeah, that was pretty surreal. Now, I was totally oblivious to all of this, as I mentioned. You know, this was whilst I was busy doing the race, and, you know, when I do these long races, when I do these events and I'm streaming them, I'm not looking at the chat, I'm not looking at anything else, I'm completely focused on the race itself. So, I had no idea this was going on, and Summit1G, he gets, basically, to put it into some kind of perspective, how many followers, sort of 1.2 million followers on Twitch means. He basically gets sort of 30,000 viewers just on any random live stream, and that's more viewers on one live stream than the majority of my videos get here on YouTube. So, you know, this is kind of major. He's got a lot of followers, a lot of people watching him. It's pretty crazy that he even just came into my stream and started watching this, and let alone got an interest in it, and then started sort of talking about me on his stream like he did. And the people in my chat, like obviously all of my followers who were watching my event and were obviously talking between themselves in my chat at the time, they couldn't believe it either. You know, they were doing their best to help him out in terms of telling him what we would do and all of the tracks and stuff. But then as soon as the race finished, and obviously it was one of the most intense races that I'd ever done, and I was really pumped about the race itself, and then I see a load of people in my Twitch chat say, oh, Summit1G was in the stream and he's been ranting and raving about you on his own stream, and I just, like, I couldn't process it at the time. Like, I was like, who is this guy? Why are you all going on about this? it was very strange, considering I just finished an hour-long race. I was completely exhausted from that race, and it was one of the best experiences I'd had in terms of racing on this game, and I get hit with all of this. So obviously when my stream finished, I sort of jumped into his and I saw what he was doing, and they were he was racing with a few of his friends, and I think you may know the name Jericho. He was in there as well, but he was actually raging at my tracks, which, you know, that's just great that my tracks have made Jericho rage. That's the pinnacle right there. But yeah, for the most part, he and his other sort of friends who he streams with, and I believe his friends are also sort of major streamers as well, they were all racing quite seriously and taking it, you know, relatively seriously. Initially it started off with them having traffic on and slipstream, but he completely turned catch up off from the start, which is absolutely great to see. You know, a competitive player knows when something's a stupid mechanic, so catch up was turned off from the start. But yeah, initially, you know, it wasn't exactly as though they knew all that much about the cars or the tracks or anything like that, or the correct techniques, and they had traffic on and slipstream on, so it was obviously not the sort of same racing experience that we do on that first night. But since then, they've been racing pretty much every night on his stream. At the end of his streams, almost every night they've been racing and practicing, and I made a playlist for them with the best tracks on PC, so that they can, you know, get that proper experience. They've turned traffic off on some of their races, and they've gradually sort of chosen what settings suit them best, so now they don't race with slipstream or traffic, and they sort of know the tracks a lot better, and they've actually gotten pretty good. And I don't say that sort of surprisingly, as in they shouldn't be good, because, you know, Summit himself is a competitive Counter-Strike player. He's not, you know, competitive gamers, if they find something that they enjoy, they're not going to stay average at a game for very long. So they're actually getting quite good. And the reason that it's more of a surprise, the way that I say that, is because it's just a surprise that there is that interest in GTA racing that we've been doing for the last sort of 2 years since the game came out. It's a surprise that someone of his sort of caliber and stature is racing on GTA and, you know, getting really into it and starting to get good at it. It's just a surprise that the whole thing has happened. Now, obviously, after my stream, I went in and I kind of couldn't believe it when I watched it back and what he was doing. And as I've sort of gone on throughout the course of the week and sort of caught up with, because when he's streaming, sort of, they race at the end of his stream and I'm well asleep by then, obviously with the time differences and stuff. As I've been sort of catching up on it and sort of just dropping in every now and again to see what they're doing, and you can see the improvement that they're making and how seriously they're starting to take it. It's just fantastic to see, and it makes me feel good that GTA racing has caught the attention of someone like this. You know, not for any personal benefits or anything like that. Just it makes me sort of feel slightly vindicated at what I've been doing for the last 2 years. You know, this channel started pretty much with a couple of hundred subscribers before GTA Online came out, and since then it's been built from that, mainly around GTA racing and racing properly on GTA. And you always get those detractors who say, you know, GTA is a casual game, it's a fun game, and the way that Rockstar sort of kind of ignore the things that we say about GTA racing and all of the issues that we have with it and the things that we'd like to improve to make it a better experience, the way that, you know, we don't really see any improvements in that respect makes me believe, and has made me believe, that yeah, maybe Rockstar are right, maybe all of these people who aren't taking GTA racing seriously are right. And I've had my moments where I've thought, you know, should I really be doing this? And, you know, I've tried with the project cars and stuff like that, and, you know, it's not as if I can't do the simulator games, but I've always been drawn back to GTA because it's so fun, it's so accessible as well. But, you know, every now and again you get those moments where you think, yeah, is it just a casual game and I'm taking it way too seriously and there's absolutely no point in me doing that. But then something like this happens and you get, you know, one of the best competitive Counter-Strike players in the entire world taking an interest in what we've been doing for so long and actually improving at it and really enjoying the experience. Now, obviously, it has only been a week. You know, this isn't something that I can certainly guarantee that they're going to continue doing it and continue enjoying sort of getting better and racing and stuff like that. And this is why I've sort of waited a week to even make a video about it, because, you know, it could have just been something where they tried it on the night or the few days after and they thought, yeah, it was a bit fun, but it's not really for them. So, you know, there's no guarantee that this is something that they're going to continue to do. And I wouldn't imagine that they're necessarily going to get Summit and his friends, for example, are necessarily going to get into the GTA racing community at large. You know, that's not what this is all about. In my personal opinion, I don't think they'll do that. But that's okay. You know, they don't have to. They've got such a large following themselves and a specific group of players who are enjoying the racing experience on GTA. And that's what it's all about. That's all I've ever tried to do with the stuff that I do here. I love motorsport so much. I think GTA is a great way for people to access different forms of motorsport, because it is a sandbox game where you can create anything that you want and you can do anything that you want, but the physics and the way that it all works together makes it a really high level competitive experience if you can organise it. So for me, it's all about just people enjoying their racing experience, enjoying motorsport in whatever form it takes, regardless of the settings that people use in GTA or whatever game it's on. I just love it when people find enjoyment from motorsport and from racing. And for what I do and what we have been doing for the last 2 years, to catch the attention of someone like Summit with such a huge following and such a history on another game, it's just great to see and absolutely fantastic. And yeah, like I said, it makes me feel vindicated that the stuff that we've been doing is fun and it is competitive, and there is that edge to it that those who take the game sort of as a casual sort of thing don't necessarily appreciate. And I think that GTA ultimately, obviously, it is a casual game. You know, the amount of things that you can do in it and the way that Rockstar sort of introduce things and the way that they go with sort of various options that they give you for doing various things, it's obviously meant to be a casual game, and there's certainly nothing wrong with that. But I think if there ever was to be a competitive edge to GTA, it would be the racing. That's kind of where that would be, because the physics of the game in terms of the cars and the racing that you can do is right up there, and it allows for that really competitive style of gameplay. So maybe it's time for Rockstar to actually start listening to my suggestions, you know, you never know. It's interesting that we've sort of seen, it's very similar to what happened when Shaggy, obviously G-Unit, he initially was sort of just messing around with very fun style races on GTA, and then, you know, I contacted him and we did a few things together, you know, dual commentaries and a bit of racing, and he gradually got into sort of the more serious racing, and obviously the rest is history. But it's interesting we're seeing the same sort of parallels between how that worked out, say, last year or 2 years ago, or however long it was, alongside what sort of Summit is doing, where they started off racing with traffic on and got the bug of proper competitive racing, turned traffic off, turned slipstream off, started with some proper tracks and some of the top cars and racing without knocking people off and all that kind of stuff. So it's just great for me personally to see that the stuff that we've been doing and the racing that we've been doing has attracted the attention of someone like this, and not for any personal gains or anything like that. It's just great to see that GTA racing is getting a little bit more out there, if you like, and a bit more coverage, because it is a fantastic experience that is extremely accessible. You know, anybody can buy a car on GTA and just jump into a race, but there is a huge skill gap there as well, and I think that's something that a lot of people maybe who don't know about this side of racing on GTA don't necessarily understand or appreciate. So yeah, that's all I really wanted to talk about in this video. You know, just basically show my appreciation to Summit if he ever watches this video, that, you know, I appreciate you dropping into the stream and promoting some more GTA racing, and I really do hope you have fun with it. Again, as I said, we don't know how long that they'll continue to race GTA. It might just be for, you know, a couple of weeks or a month or something like that, and then they might get bored of it. That's totally fine. But even just for a short amount of time to show that interest in what we do has been absolutely wonderful, and I really do feel very appreciative of that. And yeah, so that's all I really wanted to talk about in this video. I know I've rambled on, but hey, that's what these discussion videos are all about. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know all your thoughts down below. Obviously, feel free to check out Summit as well. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.